If you want to help your clients go deeper in your therapy or coaching practice, then you need to understand this one thing. There is a difference between cognitive self-awareness and embodied self-awareness. You might have clients who can really intelligently articulate and talk about their feelings. They can talk about where they come from. They can talk about their childhood trauma. They can conceptually and cognitively understand the emotions that they're feeling and why they're feeling them. And yes, that's a really important piece of growth and healing, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Cognitive self-awareness doesn't create real and lasting change. Cognitive self-awareness creates insight and understanding, even compassion for why you're feeling what you're feeling, but it doesn't help to change how your client feels and how your client behaves on a consistent basis. And if they're coming to you for support, this is what they're truly wanting. The cognitive self-awareness may scratch the itch temporarily, but it's not going to take them to that deeper place where they are blown away at how much their life has changed. I want to help you understand from a brain science perspective why cognitive self-awareness isn't enough and where embodied self-awareness comes in. I'm going to walk you through Daniel Siegel's hand model of the brain. So I want you to take your thumb, tuck it into your palm, and then you've got your four fingers up. I want you to fold your four fingers over your thumb. And I want you to imagine that this is the brain. So this top layer of the brain, these four fingers, this is the prefrontal cortex. This is the rational brain. This is the part of the brain that's responsible for language, reasoning, making sense of things, self-reflection, that cognitive self-awareness. It's the logical, rational part of the brain, and it's responsible for that ability to self-reflect, analyze, and make sense of things. This is the part of the brain that cognitive approaches are focusing on and dealing with. Now, if we were to lift those four fingers and reveal that thumb that's in front of the palm, this represents your emotional center of the brain, the limbic system. In the limbic system, we have the amygdala. This is the fear center of the brain. This is the part of the brain responsible for our emotional world and landscape. Now, this part of the brain, the limbic system, has an immediate and intimate connection with the nervous system. So imagine that the nervous system is running from the hand down the arm, and the nervous system resides within our body. So imagine the arm that's extending from the hand is the body. So in order to directly communicate to the emotional center of the brain and make changes to the emotional center of the brain, we have to utilize the body. Because when your clients are dealing with something very emotionally charged, when they're processing trauma, when they become hijacked by an emotion, when they're coming to you with a problem, it's usually rooted in an emotional experience. So when they're just talking about the emotion, trying to make sense of the emotion, they're not actually getting directly to the emotional center of the brain. And when trauma happens, when we become highly stressed, when we become emotionally overwhelmed, we do something called flipping our lid. So that's when these four fingers come up and disconnect from the emotional center of the brain. When we flip our lid, that means we're losing access to our ability to think rationally. So in those moments when we're emotionally charged, we're not able to think rationally and clearly. So all of that analysis, all of that cognitive self-awareness isn't going to cut it in those moments where our emotions are taking over. So, in order to create lasting change in how we're experiencing our emotions and therefore how we behave, we have to learn how to communicate directly to that emotional center. And we do that through the nervous system, which resides in the body. When we can learn to work with the body and work with the nervous system inside the body and start directly communicating to that emotional center of the brain and create a sense of felt safety inside the body, it sends new signals up to this emotional center of the brain saying, hey, we're safe. And guess what? When our brain and body knows that we're safe, we regain access to our prefrontal cortex, to our ability to think logically and rationally. And then and only then does all of that cognitive insight actually land and connect. Only when we are communicating to that limbic system, only when we can create safety inside of the nervous system in the body, then everything comes together and clicks and lands. So if you want to create lasting change in your clients' lives, you have to bring in the body. You have to help your clients create embodied self-awareness. Again, many people can talk about their emotions, have that cognitive self-awareness, but out of the hundreds and hundreds of clients I've worked with over the years, many people don't actually know how to feel into their body. They don't know how to speak the language of their nervous system and body, so to speak. As soon as they're invited to feel into their body and just stay in the land of sensation, their mind brings them right back up. They try to make meaning of it. They try to put labels and judgments onto what they're feeling. They go immediately into their mind and try to create a story around what they're feeling. So it takes a lot of intention and skill on the part of the practitioner to teach them how to stay in the land of embodied self-awareness. What am I aware of in my body? And how can I bridge that gap between what's happening in my body and the stories in my mind versus my mind always trying to take over and make interpretations of what's happening in my body? Where do those two worlds meet, mind and body? And when your client begins to learn how to have embodied self-awareness and bring their body into their experiences, bring that embodied awareness into those moments when they're emotionally flooded, they'll know what to do in the moment. They'll know how to change in the moment. And when they can change what's happening in their body in the moment when their emotions take over, they can change their behavior. They don't need to use any cognitive techniques or awareness in that moment because they know how to work with their body instead. And then once they work with their body, then all of that insight and understanding can land on a deeper level. This is one of the foundational things that we teach in the Healing Embodied Practitioner Training Program. This is a year-long accredited international certification program facilitated by 2 board-certified dance movement therapists. We help you create life-changing transformation for your clients by helping you first connect to your embodied self-awareness and also know how to facilitate that for others. If you want to learn more about the Healing Embodied Practitioner Training Program, be sure to get on our mailing list. I will post the link in the description. Embodiment in therapeutic work is the way forward. The industry is changing and people want more than just cognitive self-awareness. They're ready for embodied change. So if you can facilitate that for your clients, you're going to be a leader in your industry. So if you want to create a career that lights you up while changing lives, check out the Healing Embodied Practitioner Training Program. Thanks so much for being here, and I can't wait to chat with you next time.